Okay, so we're back now, and this is the next page of the swatching of the Daniel Smith watercolour range. We are going to be swatching the violets and the blues. I think I've gotten down up to here, up to fuchsia, so technically it's kind of a green blue, turquoisey colour. So we're going to stop here. So we're going to be swatching all of these. Before we go any further though, we are going to look at the last page, so the red page. I've now written on all of the pigment numbers, and this will of course be on my Patreon already from the last video, complete with pigment numbers, and so we're going to have a quick look at that. One thing that really does jump out at me first off is they've got quite a few sort of convenience mixtures or pigment paints with more than one pigment. There's one pigment that's jumping out at me being in a couple of those, and that's PR202. I'm not sure what pigment that is, I've not been able to find it. So I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if it's light fast or not. The Mayan Red has a pigment number. I've never heard of that one either. It's a granulating red actually. I don't really like it. But yeah, there's a lot of PV19 as well in the Daniel Smith colours. Not that that's a bad thing, it's a light fast pink violet colour, it's really nice. Again, there's no colours that are jumping off the page. I already have, again, the carmine. I don't have the carmine. Carmine does look nice. I do have the cerulean red from them, which is it on here? I can't, it's that, so this one, PR178, I do have that one, and that's a really nice one. And I do have the cerulean violet too from them, along with the quinacridone rose, and they are really nice colours. They're okay, there's nothing wrong with them, but I wouldn't rush out and buy them, I guess, apart from maybe that cerulean red, because it is quite nice. But yeah, so let's move on now to the blues and the violets. So violets will be first. So in this one it was pinks and kind of purples. Violets I consider bluer. They're kind of more like the oxygen violet, for example. I'm just going to zoom you in. There we go, so you can see now paper a lot closer. So let's start. So I'm painting this again on Bockingford cold press paper. So if the paint granulates, you're going to see the granulation. And I'm using a size 8 watercolour brush. So the first colour is Imperial Purple. And again, I'm not putting pigment information on this because I kind of want to do it blind, because I think sometimes pigments can cloud your judgment maybe. So I'm going to start off with a nice concentrated swatch of this one. This is quite a nice colour. I don't know if it's, again, because it's a dot card or whether it's just a colour in general, but it's not particularly that strong. But it's okay, it's not an amazing pigment load, but it's okay. It's a little bit difficult to re-wet off that paper. This is a really nice soft violet. I guess I would say this is an ultramarine violet. An ultramarine purple, whatever you kind of want to call it. So we're going to skip the next colour, Kyanite. I have that one already. It's a Primatech colour, but we're going to go next to the next one, quinacridone purple. Again, I think this is the PV55 by the looks of it. I've tried the dot card of this one from Schminker, and I've got the tube from Winsor & Newton. Whoa, that's quite a nice one. That's a really nice violet actually. I'm impressed. So far this may actually be nicer than the Winsor & Newton version, because the Winsor & Newton one does dry a bit funny. This one re-wets quite nicely. I don't have to add a lot of water or scrub too much while I'm going over the box. So let's wash that out. It's got a good flow to it. It's a really nice colour actually. I'm surprised. Not that Daniel Smith colours aren't nice, but you know, sometimes once you have your favourite brand, you have your favourite brand. So the next one is a Primatech colour, Amethyst Genuine. I do have this one, and I question how, oh, I'm going over that. I'm questioning how genuine these Primatechs are, because this one doesn't look like an amethyst gemstone in any way. And you'll see that when we get to it. It's quite hard to re-wet. Oh no, I've got it going now. But it's kind of, yeah, it's a dusky violet colour. It doesn't look too much like the gemstone, and I believe it sparkles from what I've tried before. Again, not a super concentrated pigment load. I mean, it's kind of the thing with these Primatech colours. They're nice and they're kind of unique, but I've not found a use for Amethyst yet. I've had it nearly a year, and I've not used it in any kind of painting or any mixture. Of course, there's no pigment information for these because it's supposed to be made from 100% of that gemstone. So the next colour we're going to look at, if we drop down a row, this one is Wisteria. This is a colour that I don't actually like the look of. Personally, for me, I feel they've kind of gone a bit like Holbein, and this is actually a pigment I think with white in it. I mean, they can be useful and helpful, but I'm not sure on this one. I do actually have a colour from Old Holland that's an ultramarine blue with a white pigment added to it, and that's actually quite nice. I quite like mixing with it when I want opaque or kind of grey colours. I mean, this is a nice violet, don't get me wrong. It's a nice soft pinky violet colour, but meh, I wouldn't buy it. I definitely would not buy a tube of this. As well, I think this one, there's only a 15ml tube available of it, so you can't even get it in a 5ml tube. So the next colour I also have in my collection is Moonglow. It's a really nice colour. It's a dual pigmented colour. It's a really nice shadowy colour. This is the colour I used to have that made me change palettes actually. I had this in my metal palette that had like 40 colours in it, and one day I noticed it had dust on it, so I hadn't used it in forever. Probably never is the answer to that one. And I thought, well, I'd better sort of change up my habits because there are colours in this box I'm not using. I mean, it's a very nice colour, probably really good for shadows, and I can see it being useful, but I just didn't ever use it. I tended to mix my own colours, I guess. So next one down is another Primatech. This is Sodalite. This is again a sparkly colour. It doesn't look like it's very strong in pigment, but we'll see. No, it's a soft shimmery purple. I would say this is a mica paint. I mean, they are nice and they're pretty, they're great for crafting, but I'm not sure how I would use them in watercolour pieces, if I'm being honest. Quick note about the shimmery paints. There are obviously the duochrome colours. I don't know if I include it in this Swatchathon. I need to get some black watercolour paper to try them out on, because some of them don't really work on the white. Okay, so continuing on, we have the next colour, Mayan Dark Blue. This is kind of a weird one, because there's Mayan Blue and Mayan Dark Blue. Mayan Blue Genuine is a Primatech colour, and Mayan Blue Dark isn't. So I don't know about that one. So Mayan Blue, Mayan Dark Blue. It's an indigo colour. It's a nice colour. It definitely is, but it's still an indigo. I don't know what series it's. Series 2. So it's not 2. It's not the most expensive. Don't know if it's more expensive than their Indanthrone Blue. Yeah, so it's more expensive than the Indanthrone Blue, which is technically kind of what this is. This is what a indigo is. It's a dark blue. similar to in Imperial Blue. So blend that out. Go. So the next colour on this list is Sodalite, which is another Primatech colour. I actually have some Sodalite pigment and I've tried to recreate this one and it didn't really work out, so I'm not sure what they're doing. And it looks nothing like the gem pigment that I have. This is very blue. The pigment I have is a very grey colour. So I'm not sure what this is actually made of. It's ones like this which is where I will question their authenticity, because this doesn't look like the Sodalite mineral or pigment or gemstone or anything I've seen. It's a really nice colour though. But again, it's just kind of a posh indigo. So I'm not sure. If this is worth a buy or not. And this is kind of my section. I really like blue paints and pigments. So this is like a paint that I would potentially quite like, or should like, and it's okay. So let's move on to the next colour, Ultramarine Blue. I never really like ultramarine blues in general. I'm not a huge fan, and I find quite a lot of commercial ones are quite disappointing. They're not very bright, they're quite dull, and they're just really not that nice. I can definitely tell you for a fact this will be PB29. I would put money on it, trust me. It re-wets okay. Wet into wet, well, in wet form, it looks okay. It's not very dark. I'm used to deep value. I'm used to ultramarines being a little bit more deep valued than this, if I'm being honest, from other brands. This kind of reminds me of an ultramarine blue light, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, it's nice, it's not bad. It's not the strongest pigment I've ever tried. It's got a nice flow to it. So not too disappointing at the minute. I don't know, of course, what it's going to look like when it's dried. So next up we have Cobalt Blue. This tends to be usually PB28, I think. This re-wets quite nicely. I'm able to get a good load off of this actually. Oh, I quite like that. That's quite nice. It's a good medium blue. I'm liking their cobalt. I don't really have very many cobalt blues in my collection. They tend to be the cobalt turquoise that I have. Just because I find this is a little bit sometimes like ultramarine and it's just a granulating pigment. And cobalts are supposed to have this thing about them. I think they're not supposed to be very ethical. So the next colour we have is veritable blue. I'm not really sure what this is. It's not a Primatech pigment, but I have seen a pigment from pigment manufacturers called veritable blue. Veritable blue even. I'll say that correctly. It re-wets fine. I'm getting quite a good pigment load from it. This to me looks a bit like a cerulean blue. I'm not sure what the pigment is off the top of my head. Some of these I do know pigments of because either they're pretty universal and uniform across all brands, like the ultramarine, or There's sometimes maybe paints I already have in my collection or I've seen a lot of and know what the pigment is, but this one I really don't. I guess I would say it's PB35 at a guess. It's quite nice. Series 1 2, so it's not too expensive for Daniel Smith paints. So next up we have a phthalo blue red shade. They also have a green shade, which we'll get to later, but this is their red shade. Make sure I get the right one. This one's not a very generous dot. It re-wets quite easily. Oh, that's really nice. It reminds me of PB16, which is a phthalo blue that I really like. It's a bit different from the normal green shade. That's a really nice colour. It's almost Prussian blue. Not quite as deep and dark as Prussian blue, but it's a similar kind of undertone to it. That's really beautiful. Oh, I've got too much water. Hang on. Got a bit too much water on that one. Gonna lose. Oh, that's ultramarine blue. I'm gonna lose the pigment. There we go. So next up we have Mayan blue or Mayan blue genuine. This is the one that I was telling you about. That's a Primatech colour, but the dot isn't. I'm struggling to re-wet it a little bit. This is very different from the Mayan dark blue. Whoa, very different. This is very weak tinting. There's not a lot, very strong pigment load on this. It's kind of gross, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of like a really weak desaturated cerulean blue. Just muted. I don't think I like it. It's a bad blue. And there's not very, I never thought there was such a thing as a bad blue, but yeah, I'm not enjoying it. This isn't for me. I most definitely will not be purchasing a tube of this. Take some of that water off. It has a nice flow in the water, but I mean, colour wise it's nothing to write home about. Okay, so we're going to start the next row. So the colour we're going to start with is cerulean blue chromium. I have this colour. It's a bit of a, not sure how to describe it. It's a cerulean blue that's a bit different. I believe it's made with PB36 rather than PB35. It's a nice enough cerulean blue, I guess. It's not hugely anything special, but it's nice enough. So the next colour that we're actually going to be moving on to now is cobalt teal. And this is one of those colours that is kind of greenish. It's a yellowy, well, it's a greeny blue, even it's turquoise. And this is the colour I have from Winsor & Newton. It's called turquoise blue light, I think it's called. This is a very green version. The one from Winsor & Newton is a lot more bluer than this. And it's also more intensely pigmented, I find, the one from Winsor & Newton. This one's not particularly strong. I know that can be a kind of a problem with dark cards. You can't always get the most purest concentration. Sometimes you can get a better result from the tube itself, but I don't know. Going off like the colours I've already got from Daniel Smith and comparing them to the dot card swatch, they are the same. I guess you can paint from the tube or pan, you can paint a stronger concentration at paint mix. Some of these colours do benefit from it, like I'm looking at this dot card, and the Imperial Purple and the Amethyst are a lot nicer on full concentration. So that's something maybe something to take into consideration or not. So let's go all the way back up now to the top. Hang on, I think I'm going to have to move the camera because I can't reach. There we go. So the next colour in the range is going to be kyanite. So as I said already, I have this one. And it's a interesting kind of colour. I'm just kind of looking at the series of all of these. I think I've been reading the wrong thing for series. Whoops. But never mind. So this is a really expensive paint. I believe it's about £19 for a tube, a 15ml tube, so it's very expensive. I think that works out about $26, something like that. I think I saw it for. So this is very pricey for the paint that it is. It's interesting and it's kind of nice. It's a nice dark bluey grey kind of colour. It sparkles and yeah, it's definitely interesting, but it's one of the colours which I think I would struggle trying to find a use for. I think you would just use it to paint shadows and greys and things like that. So it's not super useful, I don't think. And it's very expensive. It's one of the colours which I probably, given the choice, I probably wouldn't buy again. If I ever do manage to use up my tube that I have of it, I won't be replacing it. So the next colour is Ultramarine Violet. And it's not too bad. These colours tend to be a bit more weaker. They're not so strong. Ultramarine Violets, it's a soft violet, it's not super intense. And that's pretty much what we are getting. So it's as expected. I'm not disappointed. It's how it behaves throughout most manufacturers, so this isn't anything to be too concerned with. It's just a pigment. But again, the more layers you build up, you can get more of an intense colour, and I think it's better to build up layers to get that intense colour rather than use a really strong mix, personally, because I think you can get stronger, more intense and in-depth colour by doing things that way. That's why I paint in so many layers, to get that really nice depth to it. Some nice granulation by the looks of it. So next one. This is one that I have a tube of as well, and I have it from several different manufacturers. This is Carbazole Violet, and I know for a fact that this is PV23, Dioxazine Violet. Rewets extremely easily. Even the Winsor & Newton paint of this rewets extremely well. That's how rewettable this pigment is. And it's beautiful. It's just as nice as the Winsor & Newton one. I'm not disappointed whatsoever. It's a purple that does sit on my palette, even though the one I have is from Winsor & Newton and a Lucas mix, because I kind of had a half pan of both lying around and didn't really want to keep it that way. I wanted to get rid of the half pans, so I just put them in both of them in the well, scraped it out and put it in one well. The next one is Cobalt Blue Violet. I'm kind of interested to see how this one's going to look. Rewets quite nicely. It's quite a strong, well, quite an intense pigment load, so it's quite got a decent amount of colour there. And yeah, I would agree, it's a blue violet. It's not violet, but it's not blue. It's definitely in the middle. It's a nice colour. But yeah, I would definitely say this is a convenience mixture. Probably of a violet and a blue, strangely enough. Probably a cobalt even, sorry, a cobalt blue and a violet. It's got that cobalty kind of feel, that opacity to it. Got a little bit of granulation going on there by the looks of it, but it's not super heavy with the granulation. The next colour is Shadow Violet, and this is kind of like a cousin to Moonglow. It's a multi-pigment mix, and it's going to behave in a similar way. It's a shadowy colour. As you can see there with the Moonglow, it splits into the different colours it's made of, which is really nice. It's really nice for abstract painting. So this one is actually the warmer version of. And you can see that there's a lot more red in it. You probably don't need to buy both. You can probably just get away with one if you're going to buy any of these two colours. You can definitely see they're kind of related. They're both that kind of tone. Because when I was looking at buying one of these are the two colours from Daniel Smith that a lot of people rave over, for kind of unusual colours that you wouldn't expect. And it's Shadow Violet and Moonglow, people kind of say are really nice and do the same sort of thing. They have that colour split where you can see the bit of the red, the blue, the violet in the paint swatch. But again, when I was looking into it originally, I didn't know which one to go for, and you definitely don't need to get both. So moving on to the next one, we have indigo. Now this will be a synthetic indigo. Indigos are normally made with a phthalo blue and a black. I think only Schminker uses a synthetic indigo, which is PB66, if I remember correctly. I know Otto has recently done, by the film of this video, time of filming this, she's recently done a video on indigos, where she mentioned this. It's a nice colour, nice and intense, nice and deep. They're either made from phthalo blues or indanthrone blues, so this, I think the Daniel Smith one might be an indanthrone, because I'm not getting a lot of phthalo here. I've got one from Jackson's that's a phthalo blue mix, and it has kind of this luminosity and this kind of neon blue undertone to it when you paint it out, particularly when you're going to do this, and it's not doing that. There's no electric blue, there's no kind of this colour under it. So I would definitely probably say this is a indanthrone blue based one. Okay, so next colour is indanthrone blue. This is a favourite blue of mine. It's PB60, I know it for definite, and it's often a favourite blue of mine. I got it from Old Holland, which is my absolute favourite, and I've also received one from M. Graham, gifted to me by Otto, very kindly, and I like both of them. Old Holland always remains my favourite brand because it's the first brand I kind of fell in love with. They're not without their faults, definitely. I won't recommend them to just anybody, but they do have some nice colours, and the M. Graham one is beautiful. The Daniel Smith one so far is okay. I definitely won't be switching. I will definitely be either sticking to the Old Holland or the M. Graham one for definite. This isn't, it's nice enough, but the other two are far more superior to the Daniel Smith one by the looks of it. So the next colour is another Primatech colour, and it's kind of special for them and kind of not special for them. This is Lapis Lazuli Genuine. So Primatech. There was a lot of hype about this colour, but once people buy it, they realise that it's pretty crappy, really. There's no other way to say it. When you have Lapis Lazuli pigment, the way they make the pigment is they grind the stone down. But when the stone is not pure lapis at all, it's kind of got different streaks in it and different minerals all mixed together. So they sift those out. The higher the grade of lapis, the more expensive it is because there's more of the other stuff sifted out. There's nowhere near as much of that lapis pigment in, say, a 500 gram stone as what you think there is. And that's why pure lapis is so expensive. I've literally seen it for hundreds of pounds for a very small amount. It's crazy. The one that Daniel Smith is probably using is Ultramarine Ash, which is the really lowest grade you can possibly get. I mean, I don't blame them in a way because they're a commercial brand. They're there obviously to make money, as everybody is, but they can't afford to make Lapis Lazuli with the highest grade lapis possible. This is a series 5 pigment, so it's going to be very, very pricey. And while of course lapis is a pricey gem, I don't think that I would pay this much for it. I know Schminker make it as well, and I think the Schminker one is a little bit cheaper. Probably okay in quality. I think it might be a bit nicer. But yeah, you can see I'm scrubbing and scrubbing. It's taking quite a lot of scrubbing to get any kind of paint, and this is the strongest we're getting. So yeah, kind of disappointing. It's more of a grey than a blue. It doesn't really move in the water either, so that's really disappointing. I really wouldn't bother buying it at all. I wouldn't be surprised if they stop making this colour altogether at some point in the future, because it's got a lot of complaints and issues with it, basically. The next colour is French Ultramarine, so this is supposed to be different from standard Ultramarine, I believe. Yeah, I'm just checking my exposure settings. A bit off. There we go, I do apologise. So French Ultramarine, as I was saying, this is supposed to be a finer Ultramarine, I believe, and it shouldn't granulate as much. But if we look at the swatch of just standard Ultramarine there from them, there's not an awful lot of granulation in that anyway. So I'm not sure what to make of this one. I think actually looking at this might actually granulate more. Perhaps that's the way, maybe I've got it around the wrong way. Perhaps French Ultramarine has a heavier granulation than standard. This one is actually taking a bit more work to re-wet. It's definitely not as saturated and as pigmented as the standard Ultramarine. And this one is a series 2, the French Ultramarine, so it's more expensive. And I don't think at the minute it's as nice looking. I think looking at it wet, I prefer the standard. Yeah, this is hard to get a good pigment load from. This is why it can be really difficult to find a good Ultramarine, particularly in a commercial brand. They can vary quite a lot, even though it's all technically the same pigment. So next we have, of course, Phthalo Blue. This is the green shade version. It's quite a generous dot on here. Oh, I like this one. Re-wets nicely. I think this is actually probably closer to that PB16. That is gorgeous, look at that. That is just, oh, that's beautiful. That's a blue to die for. I mean, it's so blue that it's like, it reminds me of really, really clear blue water. Like I could dive right into it. It's just, That is a really nice blue. Perhaps I'll be adding this to my wish list, depending on how it dries, but that is just really nice. I'm really happy with that colour. Even though it's just a phthalo colour, it is just a really nice colour. Next up we have lavender. So again, this is another kind of Holbein inspired colour. It's a pigment with white added to it. And this actually looks quite a lot like that King's Blue from Old Holland that I have. It's blue rather than purple. I'm not sure. Lavender is a soft purple colour, but I'm not getting lavender from this. I don't think it's purple enough. It's too blue to be lavender. To me, Imperial Purple looks more lavender than what this does. At least in my opinion. And it's about semi-opaque. Not surprisingly, because it's got white mixed in with it, but yeah. Next we have Prussian Blue. I have this colour from Rembrandt and I will never purchase it ever again. It's just not light fast, it's quite impermanent. It's a beautiful blue, but it's just not, the light fastness on it is just not worth it. It really isn't. And as well, this isn't too far off phthalo blue red shade. I'm sure you could get a similar hue to this by mixing some of these blues together, and it would be more light fast and permanent. It's a shame because I really do like Prussian Blue. But yeah, it's just nowhere near. It's just not light fast whatsoever. This says it is light fast with a light fast rating of 1 on the STM scale, which means it should be lasting over 100 years, but it just doesn't. This is why I like Prussian Blue, because although I do like Indanthrone Blue, you kind of get this kind of phthalo blue in the wash, and then you get the really dark Indanthrone Blue kind of colour, really concentrated, but in the wash it's almost phthalo. It's the reason why I like it. It's very versatile. Next we have Cerulean Blue. So this should just be the PB35, just normal cerulean. Don't know whether or not it is, but we'll soon find out. It's quite a generous dart. It's re-wetting okay, not quite as well as the cerulean blue chromium, but yeah. Oh. It's not as strongly pigmented, so it's definitely not as deep a colour, nor more as intense colour even. It's quite weak. Cerulean blues can be quite weak, they're not super strong. I do have a cerulean blue currently on my palette. I mean, I don't use it massively a lot, but it's nice to have when I want it, a soft kind of blue. I do have a very expensive version on my palette though. The Old Holland one which I have is actually about £18 for a 5ml tube. I think I got mine on sale and it was 15. So yeah, I won't be repurchasing the Old Holland one. I really like the Rembrandt one and the Sennelier one. Okay, so we're on the very last two colours now, and the next one is Manganese Blue Hue. I have a Manganese Blue Hue from Winsor & Newton, and it's quite disappointing compared to the genuine Manganese Blue. I guess a lot of people out there haven't tried the original, so they're not disappointed by the hues. But I can definitely tell you that the Winsor & Newton one doesn't live up anywhere close to the original. And I have a feeling the Daniel Smith one won't either. But we shall see. It's quite hard to re-wet. Yeah, that's just sad. Look at that. That's just really pathetic. I just don't know why I bother making a hue for this paint. I can understand paints like quinacridone gold, because the hues do get really close to the original. But with colours like this, you just cannot match the granulation and the intensity of the blue. This is really bad. I would actually go as far to say this is probably worse than the Winsor & Newton version, and that doesn't happen very often. But yeah, doesn't even flow that well. It's quite weak. There's hardly any granulation in it. It's just poor. The next colour we have is kind of a green colour, but it's going to fit on this page anyway, and it's Fuchsite Genuine. I do have this pigment, and I've tried to make this paint out of it, and no colour comes off it, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this one. There is also a colour called Red Fuchsite that Daniel Smith make, so I'm going to be keen to see how that looks as well. It's actually just sweet tinting it, almost sweet tinting it as the paint that I have made even. I haven't quite got a good enough formula where I'd be happy to sell it at the minute. Perhaps maybe selling it in tubes is a better way to go. You can get a stronger, brighter colour from it. But yeah, this is very shimmery. I can see the shimmers in it on the dot of the water. It's not a super strong, it's a minty green. So it is technically a green, but we'll include it in this one anyway. It's a nice soft green, but I'm not sure I'd rush out and buy it from them. But yeah, so that's it. So we're done now with the blues and one or two kind of greens, and of course the violets as original. Let's just zoom out and see all of these colours. There we go. So you get a good flavour of what the colours are there. So looking at these colours, what can I say about them? There are only a couple that look really nice. Looking over these, if we look at the dark card, you can see here that Imperial Purple, it's a lot more intense. So I'm guessing going over it with lots of layers of paint, you'll get to this intensity. And that does look quite nice, I will admit. Same with the Amethyst Genuine as well. We have that kind of going on. Out of all of these, the Ultramarine is much better than the French Ultramarine, personally, I think. That cobalt blue has lost a lot of its beautiful colour. It's a bit more muted now, it's not so nice. The veritable blue is really nice. I think I may consider adding that to a wish list, along with the phthalo blues. They're really nice. I really like both of them. The Indamphorone blue is okay, but nothing to write home about compared to other brands. Mayan blue is really disappointing, along with the manganese blue hue. Other colours I'm really liking the look of, strangely, are the Sodalite and the Sodalite. Sodalite and Sodalite. I don't know if it really shows on camera, but this is a really nice, interesting colour. It's very sparkly, but it's really, I don't know, it's just really beautiful and pretty. I don't know what I've used it for, but it does look nice. And the Sodalite is a really nice colour too. But I'm not sure what they're using for it because it doesn't look like the pigments that I have. So that's interesting. But yeah, those Holbein colours are a little bit disappointing. I won't be rushing out to buy them and put them on my palette. But yeah, they're okay. There's some nice blues here and some nice violets. Carvazole violet is of course always reliably quite good. And I'm going to add the pigment information on this when it's all properly dry. They are dry to the touch, but if I try and put ink on them, it's not really going to work. And I'm going to do that and upload it in the next video, as I've done at the beginning of this one with the reds. I think we have another 3 more videos to go. I'm not going to do the duochrome colours. I've decided on the white paper. I'm going to see if I can get some black paper and try that, because some of them aren't going to really show up. It's going to be a bit pointless and a bit of waste of paper and time. I understand that this is being broken down into a lot of videos. I think in the end it's going to be like 6 videos long. I'm doing this so you can see first of all my reaction as I'm painting it, and as well so you can get a better look of the colour for swatching in real time. I know sometimes when it's sped up you can't quite get a good look at it, so that's another reason why I'm doing it. And it always takes quite a long time to film these, a whole like 45 minutes for one video, and it takes quite a long time to upload, so I'm going to split it out into many different videos just to make it more manageable for me and more watchable for you, because I don't know about you, but I don't have 5 hours to sit down and watch a Swatchathon. It's nice to have it broken up. So hopefully in the next video we will definitely be doing the greens. So you've got 3 rows here of greens that I'll be swatching out, all the way from phthalo turquoise, which is kind of a bluey green, to undersea green. And then in the next one, I believe, let's have a look at the packaging. The ones after that will be earth tones. There are 2 lots of earth tones, so I'll be splitting those up. And then we have, oh no, there's 3 loads of earth tones. So the first lot of earth tones are kind of more yellowy and greeny. The second ones are more brown, and they are also more Primatech colours. And the last ones are kind of more blacks and greys. So let me go through those. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. As always, this swatch will be over on my Patreon page. I will leave a link down in the description bar below to all the materials used and where you can find the Daniel Smith watercolours in the UK. And I will also leave links down to my other channels, such as my website and Instagram page. If you enjoyed this video, as always, please give it a thumbs up and leave a small comment down below. It really does help this channel out quite a lot. And as well, if you want to see the next video and don't want to miss it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.